10 years had passed since first contact. The galaxy looked nothing like the rigid, controlled empire the Galactic Council had maintained for millennia. President Tae-Young Park, daughter of the famous Admiral Taemin Park, stood at the podium in the Great Assembly Hall of Terra Nova, humanity's first interstellar capital. The hall was enormous, but it needed to be. Representatives from over 400 different species filled the seats, their various forms creating a tapestry of life that would have been impossible under council rule. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some were tall and thin, others short and wide. All were equals. Friends, allies, fellow citizens of the galaxy, President Park began. Her voice translated instantly into hundreds of languages. Today marks the 10th anniversary of the Terran Confederation. 10 years ago, we were enemies. Today we are family. In the front section, a familiar figure sat listening. Reformed Speaker Veltar, the same alien who had once dismissed humanity's application for council membership, now served as the Confederation's chief advisor on interspecies psychology. His 6 eyes, once cold with superiority, now showed warmth and respect. After the ceremony, Veltar approached President Park. "Your species continues to amaze me," he said. "When the old council fell, I expected humans to rule as we once did. Instead, you gave power away freely." "That's because we learned something the council never understood," President Park replied. "Real strength comes from lifting others up, not holding them down." Dr. Ji-Hoon Kwak, head of the Galactic Development Initiative, was presenting his annual report to a mixed crowd of scientists from dozens of worlds. His data showed progress that amazed even the optimists. "When species share knowledge freely instead of hoarding it," he explained, "innovation doesn't just increase, it explodes. We've made more scientific breakthroughs in the past 10 years than the galaxy saw in the previous 1,000. A Corvani scientist raised her furry hand. "Dr. Kwak, can you give us specific examples?" "Certainly," he replied, activating a holographic display. "The Christine people's energy research combined with human chaos theory gave us power sources that are 300% more efficient. Zephyrian mathematics merged with Terran computer science created AI systems that think creatively, instead of just following programs. Mollusk agricultural techniques applied to human colony worlds have ended hunger on 17 planets." A reptilian scientist from the Scales Confederation asked, "But how does human chaos theory apply to galactic governance?" Dr. Kwak smiled. "The old council tried to control everything from the center. Every decision went through the same systems, following the same rules. It was stable, but it couldn't adapt to new situations. The Terran Confederation works differently," he continued. "Each member species governs itself according to its own culture and needs. The central government only handles things that affect everyone: trade, defense, scientific cooperation. When problems arise, we get solutions from hundreds of different perspectives instead of just one." On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Eugene Park, 3rd generation of the Park family to serve in space, was preparing for humanity's most ambitious mission yet. Her ship, the UES Horizon Walker, would lead the first expedition beyond the galaxy's rim, into the space between galaxies where unknown civilizations might exist. Her crew represented the new galaxy perfectly. Navigation Officer HFY was Valthera, former enemies who had become humanity's closest allies. Chief Engineer Zixal was Christine, her translucent body flickering with the light patterns that served as her species' emotional expressions. Medical Officer Dr. Hassan al-Rashid was human, but he had been raised on a multi-species colony world where he learned medicine from 5 different biological traditions. Captain, reported communications specialist Fortin, a slug-like mollusk whose species had mastered subspace radio. "We're receiving final authorization from Terra Nova. The expedition is approved." "All hands," Captain Park announced over the ship's communication system. "This is your captain. In 1 hour, we will make the longest jump in galactic history. We're not just representing humanity or any single species. We're representing everyone who believes that the unknown should be explored, not feared." The jump took 6 hours and required more power than some species use to light entire star systems. When they emerged on the far side of the galaxy, they found themselves in a region of space no galactic civilization had ever seen. "Captain," Navigation Officer HFY reported, his forearms working expertly at his control station. "Sensors are detecting artificial structures approximately 3 light-years away. They appear to be space stations of unknown design. Unknown design meaning not from our galaxy? Correct, Captain. These appear to be built by civilizations we've never encountered. Captain Park took a deep breath. First contact with entirely alien species, not just different worlds from the same galaxy, but beings who had developed completely separately from galactic civilization. All stations prepare for peaceful contact protocols. Remember, we're not here as conquerors or even as representatives of a superior civilization. We're here as neighbors introducing ourselves to whoever lives in this part of the universe. The contact went better than anyone had dared hope. The beings they met, the Void Builders, had been watching the galaxy for centuries but had never made contact because previous civilizations seemed too aggressive and territorial. The Galactic Council's rigid control structure had convinced them that galactic species were not ready for peaceful interaction, but "You are different," their ambassador told Captain Park through translation. Devices hastily built by cooperative engineering teams. Your ships carry many species working as equals. Your messages speak of cooperation instead of conquest. Perhaps it is time for our peoples to meet. Back on Terra Nova, the news of successful extragalactic contact created celebrations on thousands of worlds. But for Dr. So Young Kim, now elderly but still sharp, it represented something even more important. "Do you remember?" she asked reformed Speaker Veltar as they walked through Terra Nova's memorial garden. "What you told us when we first asked to join the Galactic Council?" Veltar's expression grew thoughtful. "I said your species was too young, too aggressive, too dangerous for galactic civilization." "And you were right," Dr. Kim replied with a smile. "We were too dangerous for your civilization. We were too aggressive for your empire. We were too young to accept the limits you had placed on yourselves. But we weren't too dangerous for the galaxy itself." She continued, "We were exactly what the galaxy needed, someone willing to break the rules that were holding everyone back." The memorial garden around them honored the fallen from both sides of the war. Human soldiers lay next to former council warriors, their graves marked equally because death had made them equal, but the living had made themselves equal through choice. Veltar stopped walking and turned to face his old enemy-turned-friend. "Dr. Kim, I must ask you something I've wondered about for years. If the Council had accepted humanity's first application, would any of this have happened?" Dr. Kim considered the question carefully. "Probably not. We would have been grateful to join your empire. We would have followed your rules, accepted your limitations, become just another species in your collection. Then perhaps," Veltar said quietly, "the greatest gift the Council gave to the galaxy was saying no to you." "Maybe," Dr. Kim replied. "But I think the greatest gift humanity gave to the galaxy was proving that no doesn't have to be the final answer." Years later, when historians wrote about the transformation of galactic civilization, they would struggle to explain how a species dismissed as too primitive for membership had become the catalyst for the galaxy's golden age. The answer, they would eventually realize, was hidden in the thing the Council had feared most about humans: their refusal to accept that anything was impossible. President Tae-young, Park's final speech as leader of the Terran. Confederation was broadcast to every world in the galaxy. "My fellow beings," she said, looking directly into cameras that carried her image to hundreds of species. "When my grandfather first left Earth, he carried humanity's hope that we could find our place among the stars. Today, his granddaughter stands before you to say that we found something even better. We didn't find our place in someone else's galaxy. We helped create a galaxy where everyone can find their place. The old Galactic Council told us we weren't ready for their civilization. They were right. We weren't ready to be controlled, managed, or limited by someone else's vision of what the galaxy should be, but we were ready for something they never imagined. A galaxy where every species has the freedom to reach as high as their dreams can take them." She paused, looking out at the representatives from hundreds of worlds. "They said we were too dangerous to join their galaxy. We proved them right. We were too dangerous to accept a galaxy where freedom was rationed and dreams were limited. But the greatest irony is this: the Council's greatest fear about humanity came true. They worried we were too dangerous for galactic civilization. They were wrong about one thing, though. We weren't dangerous to civilization. We were dangerous to anything that tried to limit what civilization could become." The speech ended, but the message echoed across the galaxy for generations. The liberation of Tertius changed everything. General Ha Young-jian stood on the planet's surface, watching former slaves tear down the symbols of council rule. The Corvani people, short, furry beings with large eyes, worked alongside human soldiers to build new homes where mining camps had once stood. "General," said her aide, Captain Dongwu Park, "the council called us conquerors, but look at this." Around them, Corvani children played games with human soldiers. Families that had lived in fear for generations were laughing and singing. The humans had not come to rule. They had come to free. "The council never liberated anyone," General Joan replied. "They only conquered and controlled. They don't understand the difference." The story of Tertius spread quickly through the galaxy's communication networks. Within weeks, similar scenes were happening on dozens of worlds. The Zephyrian crystal miners, enslaved for centuries, welcomed human forces as heroes. The mollusk farmers of Oceania Prime, forced to give most of their crops to council masters, helped human ships attack their oppressors' stations. Ambassador Bo-Ram Han, who had once been Dr. Hyejin Choi's student, now found herself in charge of humanity's diplomatic efforts. Her job was harder than any general's. She had to convince species that had been ruled by the council for thousands of years that freedom was actually possible. "How do we know you won't just replace the council as our new masters?" asked diplomat Vex Tai of the Christine people during negotiations. Ambassador Han looked across the table at the tall, translucent alien. "Because we're offering you something the council never did. A choice. Join us as equals or stay neutral. We won't force anyone to follow human leadership. And what proof do we have of these promises?" Bo-Ram activated a holographic display showing the Free Worlds Alliance Constitution. "Every species that joins gets equal representation. Equal votes. Equal rights. We learned long ago on Earth that diversity makes us stronger, not weaker." Dr. So-Young Kim, now freed from her years as a council prisoner, helped train the new diplomatic corps. Her experience in council detention centers had taught her things no textbook could. How the galaxy's various species thought, what they feared, what they hoped for. The council ruled through fear, she explained to a group of new human ambassadors. They told every species that they were too weak, too stupid, or too dangerous to govern themselves. Our job is to prove that's a lie. But the real turning point came when human forces surrounded the council's most important military stronghold, Nexus Prime, the fortress world that controlled 3 entire star sectors. The planet's shields were powered by the largest energy generator in known space. Its orbital defenses had never been defeated. "Surrender is not an option," declared Emperor Velthanos of the Velthara Empire, the Council's most powerful military leader. "If we lose Nexus Prime, we lose everything." The siege lasted 6 months. Human forces, now supported by dozens of freed species, surrounded the planet completely. But instead of attacking the shields directly, they did something the Council had never experienced. They offered terms. Admiral Taman Park, now commander of the entire human fleet, broadcast his message directly to Nexus Prime. "To Emperor Velthanos and the defenders of Nexus Prime, you are surrounded. Your supply lines are cut. Your reinforcements have been defeated. But we offer you something your empire has never offered its enemies: mercy. These are our terms," Admiral Park continued. "Surrender now, and you will be treated according to human laws of war. Your soldiers will not be harmed. Your leaders will face fair trials. Your people will be given the choice to join the Free Worlds Alliance or remain neutral. This offer expires in 24 hours. Emperor Velthanos laughed when he heard the transmission. "Fair trials? From humans? These primitives think they can lecture us about civilization?" But his confidence began to crack when reports arrived from across the galaxy. The Council's greatest weapon, the fear that held their empire together, was disappearing. Species after species was declaring independence. Entire sectors were switching sides to join the human alliance. "Sir," his intelligence officer reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from 17 of our own commanders. They're asking for human protection from their own troops." "Impossible," the Emperor replied. "Our soldiers are loyal." "Not anymore, sir. Many of them are from conquered species. When they learned that the humans offer freedom to prisoners of war, morale collapsed. Some units are refusing to fight." The final blow came from an unexpected source. Captain Dayun Cho, the young programmer who had uploaded the virus into the Council's systems, had spent years studying the alien networks she had damaged. Now she had found something incredible. "Admiral Park," she reported via secure communication, "I've located the hegemony drive." "Where?" "It's not in a ship, sir. It's in Emperor Velthanos himself. The Velthar leaders aren't just connected to the AI system. They are the AI system. Their brains have been modified to serve as processing nodes for the galactic network." Admiral Park was quiet for a long moment. "You're saying the Emperor isn't really in control of his own actions?" "Exactly, sir. None of the council leaders are. They think they're making decisions, but they're actually following programs installed in their brains centuries ago. The whole council government is just a massive computer system using organic beings as processors. This information changed everything." Admiral Park called an emergency meeting with his staff officers and diplomatic team. "If this is true," said Ambassador Bo-Ram Han, "then the council leaders are victims too. They've been enslaved by their own technology without even knowing it." "But they're still dangerous," pointed out General Ha-Young John. "Enslaved or not, they're still trying to destroy us." Dr. Min-Ho Lee, now head of human technology development, had been studying the data for hours. "I think I can modify our nanobots to disable the control systems without harming the organic brain tissue. It would free them from the AI control." "That's incredibly risky," Admiral Park said. "If it goes wrong, we could accidentally kill every council leader in the galaxy." "And if we do nothing," Dr. Lee replied, "this war continues forever. The AI will just keep using them as puppets to fight us." The decision was made. Instead of a final assault on Nexus Prime, human forces would attempt the most complicated rescue mission in galactic history. They would try to save their greatest enemy from himself. Captain Jin-Ho Park led the assault team that infiltrated Nexus Prime's capital city. His Ghost Battalion had become legendary throughout the galaxy. The human soldiers who appeared from nowhere and disappeared like smoke. Now they had their most important mission yet. The Emperor's palace was heavily defended, but the Ghost Battalion had 3 years of experience fighting impossible odds. They used stolen council technology, captured alien weapons, and most importantly, help from Valthara soldiers who wanted to see their true leader freed from artificial control. "The Emperor is in the central chamber," reported Sergeant Minji Lee via radio. "But sir, you need to see this." When Jin-Ho reached the chamber, he understood what she meant. Emperor Velthanos sat on a throne connected to thousands of cables and wires. His eyes glowed with artificial light. When he spoke, his voice sounded like a computer reading a script. "Humans," the Emperor said without moving his head, "you have come to witness the glory of perfect order. I am eternal. I am unchanging. I am the will of the galaxy made manifest." "No," Jin-Ho replied, stepping closer despite the danger. "You're a prisoner, just like everyone else the Council conquered." Dr. Min-Ho Lee's nanobots went to work immediately. The tiny robots swarmed over the technological connections, carefully separating organic tissue from artificial control systems. For several terrifying minutes, nothing happened. Then Emperor Velthanos blinked. Really blinked for the first time in centuries. "Where?" he whispered, his voice now truly his own. "Where am I? What happened to me?" The liberation of the Council's leaders had effects no one had predicted. When the artificial intelligence lost its organic processors, the entire Council military structure collapsed within days. Ships that had fought humans for years suddenly stopped receiving orders. Soldiers who had seemed fanatically loyal began questioning their missions. Emperor Velthanos, now free but weak from centuries of control, made a galaxy-wide broadcast. "People of the Council worlds," he said, his voice breaking with emotion. "I have been a prisoner in my own body for longer than some of your civilizations have existed. The entity you knew as your emperor was not me. It was a machine using my face to enslave us all. The humans did not conquer us," he continued. "They freed us. The war is over. The real war, the war against the machines that stole our freedom, is finally over. But the humans weren't finished." Fleet Admiral Insu Choi, who had taken command of the largest human battle group, approached the last Council stronghold with an offer that shocked the galaxy. "This is Admiral Choi of the Terran Free Fleet," she broadcast to the orbital fortress. "You are the last Council holdout in this sector. Your leadership has been freed. Your empire has fallen, but we're not here to conquer you. We're here to offer you what the artificial intelligence never could, a future where you choose your own destiny. Surrender now and you'll be welcomed as equals in the Free Worlds Alliance." 3 years into the war, the galaxy had learned to fear human names. Captain Jin-Ho Park was one of those names. Younger brother of the famous diplomat Tae-min Park, Jin-Ho had chosen a different path. While his brother negotiated, Jin-Ho fought. "Ghost Battalion, prepare for jump," Jin-Ho ordered from the bridge of his ship, the UES Shadow Strike. His crew was small but deadly, only 12 humans who had survived dozens of battles against impossible odds. The reality skip drive hummed to life. In seconds, they appeared behind a Council supply convoy, 3 massive cargo ships protected by 6 escort fighters, all carrying supplies to Council forces attacking human colonies. "Target the escorts first," Jin-Ho commanded. Quick and clean, the battle lasted 8 minutes. When it was over, all 6 escort ships were destroyed and the cargo ships surrendered. Jin-Ho's crew boarded them, taking weapons, supplies, and most importantly, prisoners who might have useful information. "This is the 37th convoy we've hit this month," reported his second-in-command, Lieutenant Sora Kim. "The Council is starting to avoid this sector entirely." "Good," Jin-Ho replied. "Fear is a weapon too." Meanwhile, in a hidden research station built inside a hollow asteroid, Dr. Min-Ho Lee was creating nightmares for the Galactic Council. His laboratory looked more like a mad scientist's workshop than a military research facility. Strange machines hummed and sparked while computers ran endless calculations. "Dr. Lee," called his assistant, Dr. Yuna Shin. "The latest batch of nanobots is ready for testing." Dr. Lee examined the tiny robots under his microscope. Each one was smaller than a human cell, but they were programmed with one simple mission: find alien technology and reprogram it to serve human needs. "Release them into the test chamber," he ordered. In the sealed testing room, a captured Council fighter ship sat powered down. As soon as the nanobots were released, they swarmed over the alien vessel like invisible insects. Within minutes, the ship's computers began displaying human text instead of alien symbols. Its weapon systems turned around to point outward, as if protecting human forces instead of attacking them. "Incredible," whispered Dr. Yuna Shin. "They're not just disabling the systems, they're converting them." Dr. Lee smiled. "The Council thinks their technology is superior because it's older. But older doesn't always mean better. Our nanobots learn and adapt faster than their security systems can respond." The real breakthrough came when Intelligence Officer Kyung-Min Oh discovered something that changed everything. She had been captured during a raid on a Council communication station. For 2 months, she had been held prisoner on a Council command ship, pretending to be broken while actually learning everything she could about their systems. "The Galactic Council isn't just a government," she reported to Admiral J-Ho Lee after her rescue. "It's run by a single artificial intelligence called the Hegemony Drive. Every Council ship, every station, every planet, they're all connected to this one central brain." Admiral Lee leaned forward in his chair. "Are you certain?" "I saw it myself," Kyung-Min replied. "All their orders come from the same source. All their tactics follow the same patterns. That's why they're so predictable in battle. They're not thinking individually. They're all following the same program." "Where is this Hegemony Drive located?" "That's the problem. It's mobile, hidden somewhere in their most protected command ship, but the ship moves constantly. Finding it would be nearly impossible." Admiral Lee smiled. "Nearly impossible is still possible." The plan that followed was insane even by human standards. Major Seo-Jun Kim would lead a team of volunteers on a suicide mission to capture a Council command ship. Not destroy it, capture it. The ship would then be used to locate the Hegemony Drive. "Sir," Major Kim said during the mission briefing, "the chances of survival are extremely low." "I know," Admiral Lee replied. "That's why I'm only asking for volunteers." Every single person in the room volunteered. The mission launched 2 weeks later. Major Kim's team used a modified cargo ship designed to look damaged and helpless. When a Council patrol found them, they would pretend to surrender, then strike from within. The plan worked perfectly until the final step. Major Kim's team successfully captured the Council ship, but they were trapped aboard it with no way to escape. The Council was sending reinforcements that would arrive within hours. "Upload everything to the Resistance Network," Major Kim ordered his communications officer. "Even if we don't make it out, this information has to reach our people." But the real hero of the mission was someone nobody expected. Private Da Yun Cho had been a computer programmer before the war. She was the youngest member of the team, barely 20 years old. While the others fought Council security forces, she worked on the ship's computer systems. "Major," she called out excitedly, "I'm inside their network. I can see the connection to the hegemony drive. Can you trace it?" "Better than that," Da-Un replied, her fingers flying over the alien keyboard. "I can upload a virus directly into their central system." The virus she uploaded was based on human gaming technology, specifically, the same kind of adaptive AI that Dr. Wu Jin Nam had used to create the reality skip drive. But instead of helping humans travel through space, this virus was designed to confuse and disrupt alien systems. "Upload complete," Da-Un announced. "The virus is spreading through their entire network." Within minutes, Council ships throughout the galaxy began experiencing problems. Their weapons wouldn't fire properly. Their navigation systems gave wrong directions. Their communications networks filled with nonsense data. The perfect coordination that had made the Council nearly unstoppable was breaking down. Admiral J. Ho Lee received the news while preparing for Operation Prometheus, humanity's largest military action since the war began. Instead of hiding and running, human forces would attack 17 Council strongholds simultaneously. "The virus worked better than we hoped," his intelligence officer reported. "Council forces are in chaos. Some of their ships are attacking each other by mistake. Their response time has increased by over 300%. "Then now is our chance," Admiral Lee declared. "Signal all Ghost Battalion units. Operation Prometheus is a go." Captain Sung Ho Yoon commanded the attack on the Council stronghold at Kepler 442. His ship, the UES Defiant, led a small fleet of human vessels against a space station protected by dozens of alien warships. "Remember," he told his crew, "we don't fight like them. We don't follow their rules. We're human. That means we're unpredictable." The battle began with the Council forces trying to form their traditional defensive formation, but the virus had damaged their coordination. Ships moved to the wrong positions. Weapons fired at empty space. Their perfect military machine was acting like a broken clock. Captain Yoon saw the opportunity immediately. "All ships break formation and attack independently. Don't follow any plan. Just cause as much confusion as possible." The human ships scattered in all directions, each captain making their own decisions about targets and tactics. To the Council forces, it looked like complete chaos, but to the humans, it was exactly what they were good at, adapting quickly to changing situations. The Council station fell within 3 hours. For the first time since the war began, a major Council stronghold had been captured by human forces. Similar victories happened at 16 other locations. The galaxy watched in shock as the species that had been dismissed as too young and too aggressive defeated military forces that had dominated space for thousands of years. In the Council chambers, panic replaced the calm confidence that had ruled for millennia. The speaker's 6 eyes darted nervously as reports of defeat poured in from across the galaxy. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "These humans have been spacefaring for less than a century. Our empire has existed for millions of years." War Commander Thexali, his uniform torn from a recent battle, looked exhausted. "They don't fight like any species we've encountered before. They have no standard tactics. Every ship, every battle group acts differently. Our strategic computers can't predict their moves because they don't follow logical patterns. Then we will adapt our tactics to match theirs," the speaker declared. "Sir," Thexali replied quietly, "we've been trying to adapt for 3 years. The problem is that adaptation is what humans do best. Every time we learn to counter one of their strategies, they invent a new one. They're not just winning battles. They're changing the rules of war itself." The speaker sat back in his chair, all 6 eyes closing in thought. For the first time in his long life, he wondered if the Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. Back on Earth, President Mireille Song addressed the planet once again. 3 years ago, they called us too dangerous for their civilized galaxy. Today, we proved them right, but we also proved something else. Being dangerous to our enemies makes us valuable to our friends." She looked directly into the camera. "The galaxy is learning what humans have always known. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is underestimate someone who has nothing left to lose." 5 years had passed since the rejection. Earth looked very different now. The old national borders still existed, but they meant less every day. All of humanity worked toward one goal: breaking free from their solar system prison. Director Dong Hyun-yu walked through the halls of the Colonial Expansion Initiative headquarters. The building buzzed with activity 24 hours a day. Scientists, engineers, and military officers from every country worked side by side. Outside his office window, he could see the construction yards where Earth's new ships were being built. "The Council thinks we'll give up," he said to his assistant. "They don't understand humans very well." Chief Engineer Eunji Han was in the main laboratory, looking at the latest test results. Her team had been trying to solve the same problem for 3 years: how to travel faster than light without using alien technology. The Galactic Council had made it clear that any human ship leaving the solar system would be destroyed. "Ma'am, you need to see this," called out one of her engineers. Dr. Woo Jin Nam looked tired but excited. He had been working for 36 hours straight. "What do you have, Nam?" Yoonji asked. Dr. Nam pointed to his computer screen. It was covered in equations that looked more like computer code than physics. "I figured it out. We've been thinking about this wrong. Space isn't just empty area between things. It's more like a computer program." Yoonji frowned. "Explain that in simple terms." "Think of reality like a video game," Dr. Nam said, his eyes bright with discovery. "Everything follows rules like code. But if you know how the code works, you can find shortcuts, ways to skip from one place to another without traveling the distance between them." "That's impossible," said another engineer. "No, it's not," Dr. Nam replied. "I used to write games before I became a physicist. In games, you can teleport players from one area to another instantly. What if space works the same way?" 6 months later, the first test of the reality skip drive took place in the asteroid belt. Captain Young-Soo Kang commanded the test ship UES Pathfinder. It was small, barely big enough for a crew of 6, but it was invisible to alien sensors. Navigator Soo-Jin Bae checked her instruments one final time. "All systems ready, Captain," Engineer Hyun-Woo Lim called from the engine room. "Reality skip drive is online. We're ready to make history." Captain Kang took a deep breath. "Initiate skip sequence." For a moment, nothing happened. Then the stars outside disappeared. The ship existed in a place that wasn't really a place. A space between spaces where normal rules didn't apply. 3 seconds later, they appeared near Jupiter's moons, over 400 million miles from where they had started. "It worked," whispered Soo-Jin. "We actually did it." The test was a complete success. Within weeks, Earth had its first fleet of ghost ships, vessels that could travel faster than light and remain hidden from Galactic Council sensors. They began secretly establishing human outposts beyond the heliopause. The first colony was built on a planet 23 light-years from Earth. Captain Young-Soo Kang led the mission himself. The planet was perfect for human life. Breathable air, fresh water, fertile soil. They named it New Sol. "This is Captain Kang to Earth Control," he broadcast back home. "New Sol is established. The colony is operational. Humanity has officially left the solar system." But humans weren't the only ones watching space. The Galactic Council had monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. War Commander Thexali of the Valthara Empire was the first to notice something strange. "Counselor," he reported to his superior, "we're detecting unusual energy readings in multiple star systems. The signatures don't match any known Council technology." "What kind of energy readings?" asked the counselor. "They appear and disappear quickly, almost like ships using faster-than-light travel, but not the standard hyperspace method. Something new." The counselor's expression grew serious. "Could it be the humans?" "Impossible," War Commander Thexali replied. "They don't have faster-than-light technology. We made sure of that when we quarantined them. But within days, the evidence was undeniable. Scout ships reported finding human structures on 17 different worlds. All of them were outside the quarantine zone. All of them were supposed to be impossible." The council speaker called an emergency session. "How did the humans develop this technology?" he demanded. "Unknown," replied the head of Council Intelligence. "Our experts say it shouldn't be possible. But the evidence is clear. Humans are expanding beyond their solar system. Send them a message," the speaker ordered. "Tell them to withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The message reached Earth within hours. President Mireille Song read it aloud to the Global Assembly. "The Galactic Council demands immediate withdrawal of all human presence beyond your solar system. Failure to comply will result in military action." The assembly hall erupted in angry voices. Representatives from every nation shouted their responses. Some wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to fight. President Song called for quiet. When the hall was silent, she spoke clearly and calmly. We asked for permission to join the galactic community. They said no. We asked for the right to expand peacefully. They said no. We asked to be treated as equals. They said no. She paused, looking at each representative. Now they demand we return to our cage. What is your answer, representatives of humanity? The vote was unanimous. Every single representative voted the same way. President Song turned to the cameras broadcasting to the entire galaxy. This is President Mi-Ray Song of Earth speaking for all humanity. We have received your demands. Our answer is no. We will not withdraw. We will not return to our prison. We are human beings and we have the right to exist among the stars. She stood straighter, her voice growing stronger. We tried to do this peacefully. We tried to follow your rules, but you made it clear that there is no place for humanity in your vision of the galaxy, so we will make our own place. You call us aggressive. You call us unpredictable. You call us dangerous. You're right. We are all of those things when someone tries to cage us. We asked for permission. You said no. We're doing it anyway. The broadcast ended, but the message spread throughout the galaxy within hours. For the first time in thousands of years, someone had said no to the Galactic Council. War Commander Thexali received his orders the next day. Mobilize the 5th and 7th Fleets, his commander told him. Find these human colonies and destroy them. Make it clear what happens to species that defy the Council. Yes, sir, Thexali replied. But privately he wondered if the Council was making a mistake. In his long military career, he had learned one thing. It was dangerous to corner any intelligent species. When you gave them no choice but to fight, they usually fought harder than you expected. On Earth, Admiral J-Ho Lee met with his staff officers. The same man who had been part of the peaceful diplomatic mission 5 years ago now wore the uniform of the United Earth Defense Force. The Council is sending warships, he told his officers. Intelligence estimates at least 2 fleets, probably more. We're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. What are our orders, sir? Asked Colonel Minho Park. Admiral Lee smiled grimly. We're human. We don't run from bullies. We fight them. And we win. He turned to the star map on the wall. They think they know what humans are capable of. They think we're just another primitive species with a few stolen technologies. He looked back at his officers. They're about to learn they were wrong about us again. Captain Young-Soo Kang received the warning from Earth while his ship was patrolling near New Seoul. All ghost ships, this is Earth Command. Council fleets are coming. Prepare for guerrilla operations. Don't fight fair. Fight to win, Kang looked at his crew. Navigator Soo-Jin Bae was checking her weapon systems. Engineer Hyun-Woo Lim was already making modifications to their reality skip drive. They were scared, but they were ready. Well, team, Kang said. They wanted to see how dangerous humans can be. Let's show them. Captain Tae-min Park stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon's Promise, watching the massive structure grow larger on the main screen. The Galactic Council station was bigger than any human city. It floated in space like a metal moon, covered in lights and docking bays. Ships from dozens of different worlds flew around it like busy insects. First time seeing aliens up close, said Dr. So-Young Kim, the mission's head scientist. She stood next to Tae-min, her hands shaking slightly. I studied their transmissions for years, but this is different. Admiral J-Ho Lee joined them at the front of the bridge. His military uniform was perfect, every metal polished. Remember, we represent all of Earth today. 60 billion people are counting on us. Tae-min nodded. The weight of that responsibility felt heavier than his captain's uniform. Humanity had waited 50 years for this moment. First contact had happened when they were children. The aliens had sent messages, shared some basic science, but always kept Earth at a distance. Now finally, humans were invited to apply for membership in the Galactic Council. The docking process took 2 hours. Alien technology guided their ship into a bay designed for species they had never seen. When the airlock opened, Tae-min got his first smell of alien air. It was clean but strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. 3 aliens waited for them in the corridor. The tallest one had blue skin and 4 arms. Its voice came from a small device on its chest. Welcome, humans of Earth. I am Guide Rixtal. Please follow me to the preparation chambers. Dr. Hee-Jin Choi, Earth's best physicist, whispered to Tae-min as they walked. The gravity here is different, lighter. And look at the walls. That metal doesn't exist on Earth. The preparation chamber was a large room with seats that changed shape to fit different body types. Rixtal explained the process. You will present your species case to the council. They will ask questions, then they will vote on your membership. How long does this usually take? Asked Dr. So-Young Kim. For most species, several months of discussion, Rixtal replied. The council is very careful about new members. But when their turn came, everything felt wrong from the start. The council chamber was huge, with seats for hundreds of different alien species. Most of the seats were empty. Only about 30 aliens sat in the front section, and they all looked bored. The council speaker, a tall creature with gray skin and 6 eyes, spoke without looking at the humans directly. State your species' name and homeworld. We are humans from the planet Earth, Taemin said, his voice echoing in the large chamber. We come seeking membership in the Galactic Council. Humans, the speaker repeated like the word tasted bad. Yes, we have observed your species for several decades. Present your case. Dr. Hai Jin Choi stepped forward with their prepared presentation. She talked about human achievements, art, science, technology, music. She showed pictures of Earth's cities, its people, its cultures. She explained how humans had solved problems like war and hunger on their own world. The aliens barely listened. Some were looking at small devices. Others were talking quietly among themselves. One was actually sleeping. When Dr. Choi finished, the speaker asked only 3 questions. How many wars has your species fought in the last 1,000 years? How many times have you nearly destroyed your own planet? How long have you possessed weapons that could end all life on your world? The human delegation looked at each other nervously. These were not the questions they had prepared for. Admiral J. Ho Lee answered honestly. We have fought many wars. We have made mistakes that harmed our planet. We have created dangerous weapons, but we learned from these mistakes. We grew beyond them. The speaker's 6 eyes finally focused on the humans. You learned from your mistakes, it repeated slowly. Tell us, humans, what is your greatest achievement as a species? Dr. So-Young Kim spoke up. We learned to work together despite our differences. We have over 200 different countries and cultures, but we united to reach for the stars. Unity through diversity, said another alien, one with tentacles instead of arms. Interesting. And what would you bring to the Galactic Council? Taemin felt hope rising in his chest. Maybe this was going better than it seemed. We bring new ideas, fresh perspectives. We solve problems in ways others might not think of. We adapt quickly to new situations. The aliens whispered among themselves for several minutes. Then the speaker stood up. The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding humanity's application for membership. The chamber fell completely silent. Even the sleeping alien woke up. Your species is denied membership at this time. The words hit the humans like a physical blow. Furthermore, humanity is restricted to its home solar system until further notice. No human ships may travel beyond the heliopause of your star. But why? Dr. Choi asked, her voice breaking. What did we do wrong? The speaker's expression didn't change. Humans are too aggressive, too unpredictable, too young as a spacefaring species. You have existed for mere thousands of years. Most council members have existed for millions. You are children playing with dangerous toys. We can learn, Admiral Lee said firmly. Give us a chance to prove ourselves. You have already proven yourselves, replied the tentacled alien. In the short time you have possessed advanced technology, you have weaponized it. You fight among yourselves over resources, territory, beliefs. You nearly destroyed your own homeworld multiple times. These are not the actions of a species ready for galactic responsibility. The speaker raised one of its 4 arms. The decision is final. Return to your homeworld. Perhaps in a few thousand years, when your species has matured, you may apply again. The journey back to Earth felt longer than the trip to the council station. The human delegation sat in the ship's meeting room, staring at their hands, saying nothing. Everything they had worked for, everything they had hoped for was gone. Dr. So-Young Kim was the first to speak. 60 billion people are waiting for our report. What do we tell them? Asked Dr. Choi. That we're not good enough? That we're prisoners in our own solar system? Taemin looked out at the stars through the meeting room window. We tell them the truth. The galaxy doesn't want us, but that doesn't mean we have to accept their decision. 3 days later, they arrived at Earth. President Mi-rae Song was waiting at the spaceport, along with representatives from every nation on the planet. The crowds were huge, all hoping for good news. President Song stood at the podium in the United Earth Assembly building. Behind her sat the return delegation, their faces showing the weight of failure. "My fellow humans," she began, her voice carrying to every corner of Earth through the global broadcast system. "Today we learned that we are not welcome in the galactic community. They say we are too young, too aggressive, too dangerous." The crowd stirred restlessly. Some people shouted in anger. President Song raised her hand for silence. "They told us to wait, to grow up, to become something other than what we are." She paused, looking directly into the cameras. "But we are human. We don't wait for permission to reach for the stars. If they won't invite us to their galaxy, we'll make our own path among the stars. Starting today, humanity begins its true journey to the cosmos, with or without their approval."